Prabhu. Hare Krishna
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Nice to see so many devotees participating. Sorry, I'm late. I'm having some problem with the computer. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so as we normally do, we will have some volunteers to read on the chat. So if anyone would like to read, please put a number in the chat in the order which you would like to read. So starting with number 1. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's well. Yeah?
We're all safe and
Your
well.
family's well. Okay, so we've got a few volunteers to read, which is great. I'll try and give everyone equal timing for reading. So before we begin, I'd like to reiterate that we are following the 16 principles of good sadhu sangha. So I've posted that link on our WhatsApp group for you to read in detail. And then every week I'll just go through one of those principles at the beginning, just so that we are mindful of that. And so principle for this week, number 4, is that we should read Srila Prabhupada's books systematically. Systematically means that it's important to read the first from Bhagavad Gita, and then to proceed to reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, or in our case, we're reading Krishna Book, and then to read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, or the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So this is considered systematic reading, as opposed to, so Prabhupada doesn't really recommend, he recommends systematic reading. He doesn't recommend that we read a little bit from one book, a little bit from another one. Sometimes we've heard from people who like to open the Bhagavad Gita, and whatever page comes up, then we take that as a revelation for us. So that kind of reading isn't the kind of systematic reading which is recommended, but to read like in a series, in sequential order. In another place, Prabhupada mentions that how the Bhagavad Gita is like is a preliminary study, like we have GCSE study here, and then further study is the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is he compares to like a master's or a degree, a bachelor's degree, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts. And then the Chaitanya Charitamrita Srila Prabhupada compares to being like a PhD or a doctorate of study. So this is sequential understanding about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so even in our group, we've done that. We've started with the Bhagavad Gita when the lockdown began, more or less. And now we've progressed to Krishna Book. We've understood some of the principles that Krishna explains, that he reveals himself. And now we are understanding Krishna himself by his activities. So this is something I just wanted to share about systematic reading. So where we're reading from today, Krishna Book, if you have your copies with you, or if you're following online, I've us going as far as chapter 3, the birth of Lord Krishna. So we just read the first 2 paragraphs of that chapter already. So I believe we're on the third paragraph of the 3rd chapter. Is everyone okay with that one? That's where I believe we finished.
We start from the great sages.
Yeah, I think that's where we finished. The great sages and the demigods. So we can begin there.
Okay.
Okay. We have a reading order. So before we begin reading, we usually chant the invocation prayer, the song. So I'll just go over to that, which is in the introduction. So if you're new to this group, then this is the song in different texts. There are different invocation songs. So sometimes we sing the Jai Radha Madhava prayers. Sometimes we sing the Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya. So in this Krishna book, Prabhupada has given us in the introduction this song. So I'll sing this, and you can follow as well, but I'll ask you to go on mute because of the feedback that we get during the singing. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. So we'll begin from the birth of Lord Krishna, as mentioned, third chapter, the third paragraph. So just to recap quickly, the previous weeks, we read the reasons for why Krishna was to descend because of the prayers of Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth. And then while Krishna was in the womb of Devaki in the prison house of Kamsa, we read about the prayers which the demigods offered to Krishna. And now we are just on the cusp of Krishna appearing. All the auspicious signs around the world are showing that Krishna is going to appear. Okay? So I'd like to ask first reader Jay Prakash Prabhu.
Yeah.
Please begin. Thank you.
Okay. The great sages and the demigods, being pleased, began to shower flowers at the seashore where there was sound. There was the sound of mild waves, and above the sea there were clouds in the sky, which began to thunder very pleasingly. When things were adjusted like this, Lord Vishnu, who is residing in the heart of every living entity, appeared in the darkness of the night as the Supreme Personality of Godhead before Devaki, who appeared as one of the demigoddesses. The appearance of Lord Vishnu at that time could be compared to the rising of the full moon over the eastern horizon. The objection may be raised that since Lord Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon, there could be no rising of the full moon. In answer to this, it may be said that Lord Krishna appeared in the dynasty which is in the hierarchy of the moon. Therefore, although the moon was incomplete on that night, because of the Lord's appearance in the dynasty, wherein the moon is himself, the original person, the moon was in overjoyous condition. So by the grace of Krishna, he could appear just like a full moon.
Mm-hmm. You could just continue with one more.
Okay. In an astronomical treatise by the name of Kaminkiya, the constellations at the time of the appearance of the Lord Krishna are very nicely described. It is confirmed that the child born at that auspicious moment was the Supreme Brahman, or the absolute truth.
Okay. So this is the critical moment of Krishna's birth now. Huh? So it's a wonderful place to start reading from this week, isn't it? So which points, because this is obviously a reflective reading group, I'd like to encourage everyone to try and participate in the discussions and questions. Of course, if you have a question, then please raise your hand in the participant box, or if you want on the screen. I'll try and see who's raising their hand on the video. It's helpful. So, or if you want to make a point, then please do. So, Any key points which have stuck out to you here in this particular portion?
I think it's very beautiful how when the Supreme Lord appears, no matter what the condition to us mundane people is, it just is so just beautiful, like the full moon. I mean, that sticks out for me, that no matter what, the fact that Krishna was here was just beautiful, and everything else just fell around him.
Yeah, no, very nice point. Yeah, so because the Supreme Person has appeared, everything has become beautiful. Yeah. Would anyone else like to say? What is the point which Srila Prabhupada is bringing out here as well? About the moon. I think he's speaking a lot about the moon here.
This is sort of making incomplete things that are visible complete by the appearance of Krishna.
Yeah, that's right. So we know Krishna is born on which day? Which day do we celebrate as Krishna's birthday, appearance day?
8th day?
8th day, yeah. Or as we call it, Janmashtami, isn't it?
Janmashtami, yeah.
Yeah. So 8th day means that it's actually a half moon day. If you look at there's 15 days of the moon going one way and 15 days. So you have a new moon and you have a full moon. And so 8th day is considered like a half moon day actually. So then what does Prabhupada say here that happened actually on that half moon day, or supposedly half moon day? So it wasn't a half moon as such. I think you're on mute, Lakshmi, who's answering that one.
Prabhupada says that the moon is himself, the original person. The moon was in overjoyous condition, even though it was, I suppose it's like a smile, isn't it? If it's half as well.
Yes, the moon was overjoyous. That's right. And it became a full moon. Yeah. So Prabhupada says that the full moon, so even on the 8th day of the moon, which is like a half moon, the full moon appeared, because the moon was so happy that it just, out of joy, it just fully appeared. So this is like the amazing features of Krishna's appearance day. On a half moon day, a full moon would appear. And so many other descriptions which we read last week. So it's important to understand this chapter very well, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatvata tyatvadeha punajanma naiti mameti sojuna, that Janma karma, that his birth and activities are transcendental. He says to Arjuna that anyone who understands his birth and his activities is liberated. So this is actually the most wonderful thing about this Krishna book, that just by reading it, become liberated, by understanding it, become liberated. So we can see that Krishna's birth is not usual, it's divyam, it's divine. Okay, so we'll continue reading, Prabhu, if you can.
Yep. Vasudeva saw that wonderful child born as a baby with 4 hands holding conch shell, club disc and lotus flower, decorated with the mark of Srivatsa, wearing the jewel necklace of Kaustamba stone, dressed in yellow silk, appearing dazzling like a bright blackish cloud, wearing a helmet bedecked with the Vedurya stone, valuable bracelets, earrings, and similar other ornaments all over his body, and beautiful by the abundance of hair on his head. Due to the extraordinary features of the child, Vasudeva was struck with wonder. How could a newly born child be so decorated? Vasudeva could therefore understand that Lord Krishna had now appeared, and he became overpowered by the occasion. Vasudeva was very humbly wondered that although he was an ordinary living entity, conditioned by material nature, and was externally imprisoned by Kamsa, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, Vishnu or Krishna, had appeared as a child in his home, exactly in his original position. No earthly child is born with 4 hands, decorated with ornaments and nice clothing, fully equipped with all the signs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Over and over again, Vasudeva glanced at his child and he considered how to celebrate this auspicious moment. Generally, when a male child is born, he thought, people observe the occasion with jubilant celebrations. In my home, although I'm imprisoned, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has taken birth. How many millions and millions of times should I be prepared to observe this auspicious ceremony?
So, Kirtika has a question here.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, sorry, my question was for the last paragraph. I didn't understand who appeared as the demigoddess. When things were adjusted like this, Lord Vishnu, who is residing within the heart of every living entity, appeared in the darkness of the night as the Supreme Personality of Godhead before Devaki, who also appeared as one of the demigoddess. So, I didn't understand who the demigoddess was.
So it's describing
Isn't
that
it?
Devaki. My understanding is that Devaki, because she didn't appear like an ordinary human being, she was effulgent, she was glowing, as it said in the previous chapter. When the demigods came to see her, she was effulgent and glowing, just like they were. So she also appeared like a demigoddess. That was my understanding.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Do you want to add anything, anyone else? Jai Prakash Prabhu?
No, I think, yeah, that's what basically comes out. That Devaki is like a demigoddess.
Yeah. So in this paragraph is read. Was there any outstanding features which anyone would like to share or discuss? I found it interesting personally that Krishna had a baby form with 4 arms. So that's described here in the first sentence. And again, Prabhupada mentions it later in the paragraph. So he says, no earthly child is born with 4 hands, fully decorated. So this is how Krishna appeared to Vasudeva. So anything else?
Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Sachinandan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, he had 4 arms, but he was not, at that time, he was not in a baby form, was he?
There's a Vishnu.
So I had this clarified by a few senior devotees just earlier because I thought this might come up. As we've not seen any pictures like this. But so after speaking with some senior Vaishnavas, they've explained to me that actually Krishna does have a 4-armed baby form.
Oh.
This is also, I checked in the Sanskrit of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that's the case.
Because as I saw, I don't know how long ago, in a documentary film, he appeared in a 4-arm, but not in a baby form. And then Devaki asked, I don't want to see you. I don't want you to be in this form. I want to be in as my child, in a baby form.
Yeah.
And then he decreased his form, actually, size of the form.
Yes. So I also had this same doubt, not more than a few hours ago. So this is why I spoke to some senior devotees to get the right answer. So as it was explained to me that in the verse, because it actually says it was a 4-armed form of a baby, it's in the Sanskrit itself, it says then, I think it was verse 11, actually. If you want to see in the Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 3, it would be verse 11. Sorry, it'd be verse 9 and 10 in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it mentions there's a four-armed baby form, but also there was a four-armed Vishnu form, and that Vishnu form spoke to Devaki and Vasudeva, which we'll read later on. What Krishna said, what that Vishnu form said, and then when Devaki prayed that you please hide this four-armed form, the Vishnu form disappeared, and then a two-armed form of Krishna, as we know Krishna with two arms as a baby, appeared only. So the Vishnu form was no longer present.
Yeah, so that's what I meant when I said that.
Yeah, so that's correct also.
Yeah.
So it took me a little while to get this clarified as well.
Yeah.
I was asking different devotees. This is how it was clarified to me.
And is that the reason why you put this picture on for us to understand?
Yes,
today?
so this picture is approved by Srila Prabhupada. So I sent this on the WhatsApp group. So this is the moment of when Vishnu is speaking. Yeah. And then Vishnu, when he speaks, then after he's finished speaking, he transforms into the baby, as is described exactly in the verse. So that's explained more later in this chapter.
Haribol.
So that's explained in verses. I think it's verse 41. I'm sorry, it's verse 46. That's explained. So we'll get there eventually. Prabhu, did you want to add anything?
No, what I meant when you said Vishnu was speaking, but not only speaking, he appeared as well, didn't he?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Just as we see in the picture.
Sorry, one thing. What text you said? Canto 10? Chapter 11?
Canto 10, chapter 3.
Chapter 3.
Yes. And then text 9 and 10 is where this paragraph lies, which we are reading now. So you can read that after in your own time. I'll post it in the group.
Yeah.
And then in text 46, it's explained that Krishna transformed himself from a four-armed form as Vishnu into a small baby with two arms. And Prabhupada mentions that very clearly.
Yeah.
So that's there in the translation and in the Sanskrit. So this is very, very unique appearance of Krishna, and it's important for us to understand, because this is actually information which we meditate on is liberating. This understanding is liberating. Okay. So I can see Shashi Mataji has a hand raised. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I just wanted to clarify, because we're having so many discussions. So are we saying that when Krishna was born with the four hands, he was in the form of Vishnu? And then when Devaki prayed and asked for him to be in a baby form, that he then went to the two-armed baby form of Krishna?
So Krishna went from, as the first thing that's mentioned, is that Krishna has a baby. In this particular paragraph, the first sentence is, Vasudeva saw that wonderful child born as a baby with four hands. So first there was a baby with four hands. And then there was also a four-armed Vishnu, as we can see in the picture. This is what's shown in the picture, four-armed Vishnu. Because Vishnu speaks. Krishna speaks in that four-armed form. And Prabhupada has obviously explained that this picture should be drawn like this. So that form was also there, of Vishnu standing. And then when Devaki prays to that form of Vishnu, she says, please hide this form because Kamsa will come here. Please display yourself as a baby. So then he displayed himself as a baby with two arms. After which Vasudeva took Krishna to the house of Nanda Maharaj. Is that more clear now?
I think so.
So there were 3 forms in that sequence.
Yeah, I think because there's so many forms that it becomes confusing. So what my question was, that was he born as Krishna or was he born as like Vishnu, even though he was Krishna in the form of Vishnu?
So he was born as Krishna because,
Right, okay.
yeah, he was a baby. He was a baby Krishna, but with 4 hands.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah,
Thank you.
baby Krishna with 4 hands.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll read more about this now as we continue reading. There will be more descriptions. Is there any other comments or questions at this point?
Yes, actually, what we read today, previous paragraph and this one as well, I can see there is a supreme science behind all this, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's, I think, going to be explained on the next, in a few paragraphs, how it's possible that could happen. Yeah. How Krishna, who is spiritual, can appear in the material world. So unless there's any other comments or questions, Jay Prakash Prabhu, would you like to continue?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
When Vasudev, who is also called Anakatunduhi, was looking at his newborn baby, he was so happy that he wanted to give many thousands of cows in charity to the Brahmins. According to the Vedic system, whenever there is an auspicious ceremony in the Kshatriya king's palace, out of joy, the king gives many things in charity. Cows decorated with golden ornaments are delivered to the Brahmins and sages. Vasudeva wanted to perform a charitable ceremony to celebrate Krishna's appearance, but because he was shackled within the walls of Kamsa's prison, this was not possible. Instead, within his mind, he gave thousands of cows to the Brahmins. When Vasudeva was convinced that the newborn child was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he bowed down with folded hands and began to offer him prayers. At that time, Vasudeva was in transcendental position, and he became completely free from all fear of Kamsa. The newborn baby was also flashing his effulgence within the room in which he appeared. Vasudeva then began to offer his prayers. My dear Lord, I can understand who you are. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the super soul of all living entities and the absolute truth. You have appeared in your own eternal form, which is directly perceived by us. I understand that because I am afraid of Kamsa, you have appeared just to deliver me from that fear. You do not belong to this material world. You are the same person who brings about the cosmic manifestation simply by glancing over material nature.
Okay. So what do we learn about this Vasudeva giving of charity? So this was interesting. How did he give in charity here?
In the mind.
Yeah, he thought of the charity in his mind.
Yeah. So what does that actually mean? You know, I was thinking about this. So if I wanted to follow just like Vasudeva did, then could I sit here and just close my eyes and say, wow, I'm going to give all this gold and give all this jewelry and clothes and cows? Okay, done. Next thing, move on. Is it the same? What is it? What does it actually mean? How do we understand that? Any thoughts on that? I can see that there's a hand raised from Kirtika.
Yes, so when Krishna appears in your life, then you give up all your material wealth. I mean, that means nothing. So when Vasudeva saw Krishna, he felt like giving away all the material possessions that he had. So the cows and the ornaments and everything. So similarly, if Krishna came to us, we would have the same thoughts.
Mm.
That's just my thinking.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Any other thoughts on this?
We all have Krishna within us. So we can always offer this to Krishna within us.
Okay. Yes, Krishna is always with us. He's always in the heart. As Paramatma, yeah. I see Panchali has hand raised.
Yes, Prabhu. So I was just thinking, is it because Vasudev could do that because he himself was a spiritual being? So before Krishna was born, so he had all his dear ones, his spiritual beings or the demigods who were all born in the Yadu industry, and so was Vasudev. So is that the reason, although he just closed his eyes, he could, that automatically meant that he could also offer, he was able to do that as opposed to a normal mortal?
Yeah, definitely. He was in a high position. That's possible, so he could do that. I had a thought as well about this. So my understanding was that because he gave with his mind, he gave with that determination that I will do this. So he had this. He was meditating on it, that because it's understood here that when there is a child born, especially from a king, then they give in charity. So then he thinks that I don't have an ordinary child. I have God as my child, the Supreme Lord. So how much more should I give in that case? And at the same time, he was thinking, I'm stuck here, so I can't give from a jail. So he sat there, and on that day at that time, he thought it would be right that he sat there and meditated on giving because he couldn't physically give. So that actually happened. He sat and meditated on 1 cow, 2 cows, like that, and he said he's giving so many cows and other things to brahmanas. But also it means that he made that determination that I'm going to give. So he didn't just meditate on it, but then when the opportunity arises, he because of that meditation, then he took that opportunity and he gave also. So the aspect is there that because he was known as this word is mentioned, Ana Kadun Dubi. This is another name of Vasudeva. So I looked this up, and it says that he's always praised. This is what the name means. My pronunciation is a little bit poor. Ana Kadun Dubi. So he's someone who is always praised by the demigods as being truthful, as being righteous. And so in that context, it means that he actually did give it as well after, because he meditated, he made a determination that I'll do it, and then he did.
My understanding is, if while he was in the prison, I mean Vasudev, so he was helpless to do that, what he wanted to do. Otherwise, if he was not in the prison, he would have done it. And he was capable to do that. That's my understanding. Yeah. And because of that situation, he just did it in a meditation. He meditated that.
Yeah, so even that he couldn't do it, he did it in meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is another story like that as well in the Nectar of Devotion, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, about a Brahmana who is cooking sweet rice. Does anyone know that story? Yeah, would you like to share that story? A similar sort of story.
Can't remember, but I have heard that.
Would anyone like to share that one? So I could share that. It would be nice to hear others speak though, if anyone would like to try. I can help you along if you wish. So this story is, oh, I can see a couple of hands going up. Bhakti Priya, my wife would like to speak. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Hare Krishna. But if somebody else wants to speak, they can.
At the moment, it's only you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So there's a brahmana who's quite poor actually, but he's very satisfied within himself because of his devotional service. And then he likes to attend classes from the Bhagavatam, etc. And he hears in one of the classes that you can offer two things to the Lord in your mind. You don't have to offer it physically in the gross sense, but when in your mind, you can think about it and meditate and offer it to the Lord. So he found it really inspiring because he wasn't very wealthy. And so he started doing that. He started offering things to the Lord every day in his mind for years and years. And one day he's meditating, making sweet rice, and the whole meditation, he gets a pot and puts the milk and boils it, and rice and all the other things, raisins and everything else that goes with it, fried nuts. And then after he's cooked it, he wants to check if it's still hot. So he puts his finger inside. Obviously, this is in his meditation, but then his finger gets burned. Because he's perfected his meditation like this, then he gets liberation and gets to go back to Vaikuntha, to Lord Vishnu's abode.
Yeah, so it's also explained that he puts his finger in the rice in the meditation because the sweet rice is still hot. He burns his finger, and it's explained that in Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu is laughing. Narayan, he's laughing. Look at him. He's so absorbed in his meditation, he even burns his finger. So this is a wonderful feature, like the depth of his meditation. But even in the meditation, Lord Vishnu was happily accepting the offering, and he became liberated. So I think this resonates nicely, Prabhu, with what you said, that he, in his meditation, because he couldn't do something, it was accepted even in the meditation form. And Kirtika Mataji would like to say something.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I know of another story of Mansik Seva where this Brahmin is offering to the Lord and he's making kheer, and then while making kheer he's putting sugar in it, and then he said, oh my God, today I've put so much sugar, and he puts his hand to remove the sugar, and then Vishnu catches his hand and says, there is no sugar, there is no milk, we are just thinking of it. And you are removing the sugar. So that is the story I know. Very good.
That's nice as well. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So yeah, there may be so many examples like this about meditation. All right then. So we can have our second reader now. Who is reading next?
Yes, Prabhu.
So is that Amu who's going to read now?
Linisha, Prabhu.
Linisha, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One may argue that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who creates the whole cosmic manifestation simply by his glance, cannot come within the womb of Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. To eradicate this argument, Vasudeva said, my dear Lord, it is not a very wonderful thing that you have appeared within the womb of Devaki, because the creation was also made in that way. You were lying in the casual ocean as Mahavishnu, and by your breathing process, innumerable universes came into existence. Then you entered into each of these universes as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Then again you expanded yourself as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu and entered into the hearts of all living entities and even into the atoms. Therefore, your entrance into the womb of Devaki is understandable in the same way. You appear to have entered, but you are simultaneously all-pervading. We can understand your entrance and non-entrance from material examples. The total material energy remains intact even after being divided into 16 elements. The material body is nothing but the combination of the 5 gross elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether. When there is a material body, it appears that such elements are newly created, but actually the elements are always existing outside of the body. Similarly, although you have appeared as a child in the womb of Devaki, you are also existing outside. You are always in your abode, but still you can simultaneously expand yourself into millions of forms.
Okay. So this is the more scientific explanation, as Sachinandan Prabhu was alluding to earlier. So how can we understand it now from this perspective? The next paragraph goes into this a little bit more. So maybe we can read that paragraph also and then discuss. Would you like to read one more, please?
Okay, Prabhu. One has to understand your appearance with great intelligence because the material energy is also emanating from you. You are the original source of the material energy, just as the sun is the source of the sunshine. The sunshine cannot cover the sun globe, nor can the material energy, being an emanation of you, cover you. You appear to be in the 3 modes of material energy, but actually the 3 modes of material energy cannot cover you. This is understood by the highly intellectual philosophers. In other words, although you appear to be within the material energy, you are never covered by it.
Thank you. All right, so any thoughts and reflections on this one? If there are any questions? So this is Vasudeva explaining how it's actually not so strange or unusual that Krishna could appear, even though he's a supreme Lord and he's outside of the creation, but at the same time he's appeared in the womb of Devaki and then been born in front of her. So how is it that he's outside the creation, he comes before the creation, and then at the same time he's inside the creation and he's standing before her within his own creation? So Vasudeva is saying this is not a very wonderful thing, as in it's not a very strange thing. It's not very impossible. It's not an impossible thing for Krishna to be able to do that, because of course nothing is impossible for Krishna. So how does he understand that? How is it possible that Krishna can do that? He gives some examples here. Would anyone like to share those? One example he gives is the way that the creation itself is made, from one Vishnu to another to another. So he describes that there are 3 Vishnus involved in the creation process of the universe. So if one Vishnu can expand from another, then surely Krishna can come through the process of being outside the material world to inside the material world. And in fact, even in the womb of Devaki and also becoming present in front of her. Did anyone else want to comment on this? Or any further questions? See, Panchali has a hand raised. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So just wondering the meanings of those names. So I can understand the meaning of Mahavishnu, but what does Garbhodaka Sai and Shirodaka Sai mean? Do they have a meaning by themselves?
Yes, very nice question. Would anyone like to attempt to answer this one? So there are three Vishnus, as is explained here in the process of creation. First, there is the Mahavishnu. Sometimes this Mahavishnu is also called Karanadakshayi Vishnu. And then there is the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and then there is the Shirodakshayi Vishnu. Is anyone able to answer that? And what the specific meanings of these names are? I can share that. I'd like to hear from you all first, if you want to share. So the first one, Mahavishnu, or Karanadakshayi Vishnu, is the causal Vishnu. Karanadakshayi means the causal Vishnu. He's the cause of all the universes. And maybe afterwards I can share some photos that show these different Vishnus. That helps bring it to life a bit more. So from this first Vishnu, all of the universes, the multi-universes, emanate from him. Just like when we breathe, there are pores there's pores which come out of, there's, what do you call it? Like droplets which come from the mouth. So like that, from this Mahavishnu, to explain that droplets coming out, emanating from him. But these droplets, like the egg-shaped universes. So you can imagine how enormous this Mahavishnu is, that from him all these universes are coming out like tiny little drops. And then he enters into each and every single one of those universes in this form as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So Garbha also means from the navel, from the belly. Because in that Vishnu, inside the universe, he lies on the Garbhodak ocean, on the Ananta Sheshnag, and with Lakshmi massaging his feet. From that navel comes Lord Brahma. He's born as the first living being in the universe. And we see that picture of Vishnu lying with the lotus flower coming up from his navel, with Lord Vishnu, with Brahma sitting at the top. But then there is a third Vishnu, who is the Paramatma, or as it said here, the Kishoradakshai Vishnu, who sits at the top of the universe. So Garbhodakshayi bottom of the universe, and Kishoradakshai Vishnu is at the top of the universe, on the Shweta Dweep, on the ocean of milk. So Kishoradakshai also means the ocean of milk. So he sits on that ocean, and then on a planet which is a milk ocean planet. So these are three, and he pervades the entire universe. He enters into every living being's heart and into every atom, even, as it's explained here. So these are the three forms of Vishnu which preserve the universe. So Kirtika, Mataji, did you have your hand raised, or did you want to ask or comment?
Sorry, I wanted to, because you asked a question, can somebody explain these three Vishnus? I was going to explain it, but you explained it even better. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I understood it much better now. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't always see in the I don't always see in the windows, because I look usually in the participant box. Yeah. Trying to keep my eye on everywhere and at the same time read. Sorry. So how can we understand then? Because Vasudeva is using this as an example, like Krishna's appeared before him. How can Krishna be outside of the universe and inside at the same time, in front of Devaki? Did that point come out from this? Panchali?
Krishna Prabhu. So Vasudeva says that Krishna can expand himself, so he can be inside and he can expand himself into millions of beings. So he doesn't have to be confined to a space. to define himself, because he's the absolute. He can expand as many times as he wants to, and wherever he wants to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he can expand himself, exactly. So he says that in the last sentence. No, sorry, not in the last sentence. But that's the meaning that's implied that I understood also. So he says, then again you expanded yourself. So yeah. So there's another example that came to my mind about candles. Is anyone familiar with the example of how from one candle many other candles can come? Has anyone heard that example before? So it's explained that
is it a one you can light so many candles from one candle, and still that original candle has got the same capacity without losing anything, you know?
yeah, so from the first candle you can light second, third, fourth, so many candles. And the light in each of the candles is exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's not that the light in the first candle is different from the light in the second and third. The fire is the same in all of them. But still, one can identify this was the first candle which has lit all the other candles, isn't it?
Yeah, original.
Yeah, so it's explained in that way that Krishna is like this original candle.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. So, and then in the next paragraph we read about.
Prabhu, I have a question. So in the example of the candle, for example, if the original is a red candle, are we lighting all the other candles with the red candle, or are we lighting the first one, the red candle now lights the blue one, and the yellow one, and the yellow, the pink one? Or is it just the red lighting everybody?
So I think it's more simple than that even. Just like you have an ordinary candlestick, these Roman candlesticks, and you just light one and you light another one, and they're all the same. So these are all Vishnu Tattva, as it's explained that there is one Tattva which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu or Krishna. Then there is Jiva, which is a different category. Shiva is a different category. So like that, all of those Vishnus, they're all exactly like these candles. But Krishna is the Swayam, he's the original candle. Krishna Stu Bhagavan Swayam, as explained in Bhagavatam. Is that okay?
Yeah, so I like to make a comment. Color of the candle. So here, color of the candle got nothing to do with it. So we consider as all white candles, and it's effect of the candle. Light. So means light, So color got nothing to do, because when you light candle, red candle, it doesn't mean a red flame coming out, is it? Still it's white. So that's my understanding.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu, for that clarification. Okay. So now there's another point made by Vasudev in the second paragraph, which we read. And so he's also proving, so he's making these prayers because he's realizing Krishna is proving something by his appearance. So Krishna is proving that that he doesn't become covered by the material energy. Just like when the soul comes into the material world, then the soul is covered by a material body, right? So just like we have this physical and mental feature to ourselves, Krishna doesn't appear like that. The soul is when Krishna comes to the material world, he comes in a spiritual form. His physique is spiritual, his mind is spiritual, and his body is not different, it's completely spiritual. So this is another point which Vasudeva is making here, that when Krishna comes to the material world, he doesn't take on a physical form made of the material elements, just like we have a body which is made of the material elements. But his body isn't made of material elements. So this is the next thing which Vasudeva he's realizing this as he's seeing Krishna in front of him. So I was thinking about this in relation to this word we use always. Incarnation, Prabhupada uses this word from English language, incarnation, isn't it? We hear. But actually when we see because in English we don't have the same words as in Sanskrit, because it's a different language, it's a different culture. So Prabhupada is borrowing words from the English language to try to connect with the translation, because we use the word avatar, which means one who descends. He descends in his spiritual form. But the word incarnation, it means the same thing, but sometimes it can be misunderstood when we are trying to explain Krishna to people. That to carnate actually comes from Latin. Carnate means actually to come into flesh. So even that translation isn't exact. Of course, now everyone is familiar with this term avatar because film and whatnot. So because like carnate means to come into flesh. Even that word, there's a like carnivore. That carnivore, that word comes from the same root. It means like someone who eats flesh. Carnivore. So incarnation means one who comes in. Incarnation, one who comes into flesh. So really when we understand Krishna, we shouldn't understand that he is the supreme person who comes into flesh. He comes into a material body. Although Prabhupada is using these terms because that's what is in the English language. But we should understand really clearly, as he explains in detail, incarnation, what it means is Krishna is coming in a spiritual form to the material world. Is it okay? I see Dinta has a hand raised.
Hi, well, Prabhu, Stila Vilasani. I was just thinking how, Hare Krishna Prabhu, how beautiful and wonderful this paragraph is, and how divinely blessed was Vasudeva and Devaki, because they got to first-hand experience this wonderful joy of Krishna being born in front of their eyes, both spiritually and physically. I mean, if you just close your eyes and think what that might have been like, out of this world experience, you know, just totally amazing. And he was there. I'm just overwhelmed at the thought of it. So imagine him there feeling it. Sorry, just imagine.
No, it's very nice. I'm really happy you raised that point. Thank you. Yeah, because this is actually, we can connect to this Krishna book on so many levels, isn't it? We should actually be able to feel, you know, how Vasudeva is feeling here. It's a very nice point you made. So so in the previous paragraph, actually, it says just how he felt. He felt overwhelmed with joy. So it's a very wonderful experience, emotion that he was going through. Yeah. And it's nice to be able to meditate on that and feel that for ourselves. Thank you. Okay, so we could continue now with the next reader. So who's reader number 3 now? Shamrani?
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
We hear from the Vedic version that the Supreme Brahman exhibits his effulgence and therefore everything becomes illuminated. We can understand from Brahma Samhita that the Brahma Jyoti or the Brahman effulgence emanates from the body of the Supreme Lord. and from the Brahman effulgence all creation takes place. It is further stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord is also the support of the Brahman effulgence. Originally, he is the root cause of everything, but persons who are less intelligent think that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes within this material world, he accepts the material qualities. Such conclusions are not very mature, but are made by the less intelligent.
Yes, we've discussed this now already.
The Supreme Personality, sorry, carry on?
Please, yeah.
Yeah. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is directly and indirectly existing everywhere. He is outside this material creation, and he is also within it. He is within this material creation not only as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, he is also within the atom. Existence is due to his presence. Nothing can be separated from his existence. In the Vedic injunction, we find that the Supreme Soul, or the root cause of everything, has to be searched out because nothing exists independently of the Supreme Soul. Therefore, the material manifestation is also a transformation of his potency, both inert matter and the living force, soul, are emanations from him. Only the foolish conclude that when the Supreme Lord appears, he accepts the conditions of matter, even if he appears to have accepted the material body. He is still not subjected to any material condition. Krishna has therefore appeared and defeated all imperfect conclusions about the appearance and disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Unless there's any comments, we could continue. Okay, please go on.
My Lord, your appearance, existence, and disappearance are beyond the influence of the material qualities. Because your Lordship is the controller of everything and the resting place of the Supreme Brahman, there is nothing inconceivable or contradictory in you. As you have said, material nature works under your superintendence, just like a government officer working under the order of the chief executive. The influence of subordinate activities cannot affect you. The Supreme Brahman and all phenomena are existing within you, and all the activities of material nature are controlled by your lordship. You are called Suklam or whiteness is the symbolic representation of the absolute truth, because it is unaffected by the material qualities. Lord Brahma is called Rakta or red, because Brahma represents the qualities of passion for creation. Darkness is entrusted to Lord Shiva, because he annihilates the cosmos. The creation, annihilation, and maintenance of his cosmic manifestation is conducted by your potencies, yet you are always unaffected by those qualities. As confirmed in the Vedas, Harir hi nirguna saksat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is always free from all material qualities. It is also said that the qualities of passion and ignorance are non-existent in the person of the Supreme Lord.
Okay. So the one key point I picked out from here, there's of course many, we can go into each and every paragraph, every sentence so much. But one thing that stood out for me was where in the first paragraph that Mataji read, at the bottom, last sentence is, Prabhupada writes, Krishna has therefore appeared and defeated all imperfect conclusions about the appearance and disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is what's being discussed in this section now. that this is one of the reasons why Krishna has appeared. So unless Krishna himself comes to this material world, how would we know? How would we know about him? How would we know he has a transcendental form? How would we know he has transcendental activities and beautiful, wonderful qualities, attractive qualities? How would we know how he looks and how to meditate on him? How would we know how to reconnect with him and return to him? Unless he comes. Otherwise, there would only be misunderstandings, because there would be just different speculations about him. And some will be imperfect, and of course they'll be imperfect, isn't it? So it's very nice in these prayers that Vasudev's giving his realizations of why Krishna has appeared. So unless there's any other comments or thoughts, we could continue. Okay.
My Lord, sorry. Yeah.
Yep.
My Lord, you are the supreme controller, the personality of Godhead, the supreme great, maintaining the order of this cosmic manifestation. And in spite of your being the supreme controller, you have so kindly appeared in my home. The purpose of your appearance is to kill the followers of the demoniac rulers of the world who are in the dress of royal princes, but are actually demons. I'm sure that you will kill all of them and their followers and soldiers.
Okay. So here's giving another reason for his appearance. And what is that? Did anyone catch that?
Mahabharata.
Sorry?
It's the Mahabharata.
Mahabharata?
Yes,
Okay.
to help Arjuna,
Yeah.
to help us really.
Okay. Would anyone else like to add to that one? That's correct. Yeah, so Krishna came in to help Arjuna to fight, yeah. Michelle has a hand raised. Hi, Krishna. I think you're still on mute. Yeah.
Is it to kill the followers of demoniac rulers of the world?
Yeah, yeah. So that's how it's explained. Yeah. So this is another. So it's nice because Krishna he does one activity for different reasons. So this is another reason that he's come to remove the demoniac rulers. Yeah. Okay, I thought I saw some hands raised, but not anymore. Panchali?
Is that what we discussed about last week, about what Krishna mentions to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, about coming to this world to save the sages and his devotees, and destroy the non-devotees?
Yeah, absolutely, that's right. So Krishna mentions that in Bhagavad Gita also. Yeah. So Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chudiskritam. So Krishna says in the chapter 4 that I come to annihilate the miscreants and to save the devotees. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for adding that. Okay, thank you everyone for participating. So shall we continue now to the next paragraph? Maybe we could have another reader now.
Yeah.
Who's the next reader? Kirtika Mataji. I think she's away. Are you still there, Mataji? We can move on to the next one. So Leela Vilasani Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu, one moment. Okay. I understand that you have appeared in order to kill uncivilized Kamsa and his followers. But knowing that you were to appear in order to kill him and his followers, he has already killed so many of your predecessors, your elder brothers. Now he is simply awaiting the news of your birth. As soon as he hears about it, he will immediately appear with all kinds of weapons to kill you. After this prayer of Vasudeva, Devaki, the mother of Krishna, offered her prayers. She was very frightened because of her brother's atrocities. Devaki said, my dear Lord, your eternal forms like Narayana, Lord Rama, Hirishya, Varaha, Nrsimha, Vamana, Baladeva, and millions of similar incarnations emanating from Vishnu are described in Vedic literatures as original. You are original because all your forms as incarnations are outside of this material creation. Your form was existing before this cosmic manifestation was created. Your forms are eternal and all-pervading. They are also self-effulgent, changeless, and uncontaminated by material qualities. Such eternal forms are ever cognizant and full of bliss. They are situated in transcendental goodness and are always engaged in different pastimes. You are not limited to a particular form only. All such transcendental, eternal forms are self-sufficient. I can understand that you are Supreme Lord Vishnu. After many millions of years, when Lord Brahma comes to the end of his life, the annihilation of the cosmic manifestation takes place. At that time, the 5 elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether, enter into the Mahatattva. The Mahatattva then enters by the forces of time into non-manifested total material energy. The total material energy enters into the energetic Padana, and the Padana enters into you. Therefore, after the annihilation of the whole cosmic manifestation, you alone remain with your transcendental name, form, qualities, and paraphernalia.
Okay. So again, moving on to quite technical descriptions here about, first of all, from Vasudev, he was explaining creation. And now Devaki, she's explaining annihilation. So we can see the mood that Krishna's mother and father had towards their son. In effect, it's like they see Krishna as their son very much. But at the same time, they're in this awe and reverence that he's the Supreme Lord. Huh? So this comes out very much in these prayers, because even though she's given birth to him, she's praying to him. Huh? So this is her unique position as the mother of God, as the mother of Krishna. Anyone else would like to share? Otherwise, we can move on. Okay. Would you like to continue?
Yes, sure. My Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, because you are the director of the unmanifested total energy and the ultimate reservoir of the material nature. My Lord, the whole cosmic manifestation is under the influence of time, beginning from the moment up to the duration of the year. All act under your direction. You are the original director of everything and the reservoir of all potent energies. All the conditioned souls are continually fleeing from one body to another and one planet to another, yet they do not get freed from the onslaught of birth and death. But when one of these fearful living entities comes under the shelter of your lotus feet, he can lie down without anxiety of being attacked by formidable death. This statement by Devaki is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita by the Lord himself. There the Lord says that even after traveling all over the universe, from Brahmaloka to Pathaloka, one cannot escape the attack of birth, death, disease, and old age. But one who enters into the kingdom of God, the Lord says, is never again obliged to come back to the material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so Krishna says in the 8th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka. This is the verse which is being described here, that from the highest planet of Brahma to the lowest, he gives a summary of the whole, gives a tour of the whole material world in 2 words. He says, from the highest planet to the lowest, all of them are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. He says, Dukhalaya and Ashasvatam. He uses these two words to describe the entire material creation. He says, Dukhalaya, that it's miserable, and Ashashvatam means it's temporary. So, but Devaki is describing how if we know Krishna, if we know something, someone, the Supreme One, who is beyond all of this, then that's where we'll go, because that's where our attention is. Sometimes it's said that where attention goes, then energy flows. Yeah. So, like if you set your mind on doing something, that's where your attention and your effort is, then that's what you will work towards naturally, isn't it? Similarly, so if our attention and our energy is focused on Krishna, who is beyond this material world, then certainly we'll reach him. Hare Krishna.
Shall I carry on?
Yeah, unless there's any comments or questions, I don't see anyone at the moment. Yeah, please, we can maybe do one or two more paragraphs.
Okay. Therefore, my Lord, I request you to save me from the cruel hands of Kamsa, the son of Ugrasena. I am praying to your lordships to please rescue me from this fearful condition, because you are always ready to give protection to your servitors. The Lord has confirmed this statement in Bhagavad Gita by assuring Arjuna, you may declare to the world, my devotee shall never be vanquished. While thus praying to the Lord for rescue, Mother Devaki nevertheless expressed her motherly affection. I understand that this transcendental form is generally perceived in meditation by the great sages, but I am still afraid because as soon as Kamsa understands that you have appeared, he might harm you. So I request for the time being you become invisible to our material eyes. In other words, she requested the Lord to assume the form of an ordinary child. My only cause of fear from my brother Kamsa is due to your appearance. My Lord Madhusudana, I wish that Kamsa may not learn that you are already born. Therefore, I request you to conceal this four-armed form of your lordship, which holds the four symbols of Vishnu, namely the conch shell, the disc, the club, and the lotus flower. My dear Lord, at the end of annihilation of the cosmic manifestation, you put the whole universe within your abdomen. Still, by your unalloyed mercy, you have appeared in my womb. I am surprised that you imitate the activities of an ordinary human being just to please your devotee.
Okay. So here, just as we started by explaining the unfolding of Krishna's forms, we can understand at this point now Krishna is standing in a four-armed Vishnu form. And Devaki is praying. What's her prayer at this particular moment? Does anyone pick up on that one when she's seeing this four-armed form? Just in this last few sentences here. In this sort of final paragraph.
She actually wants him, she doesn't want Kamsa to know that he's arrived. So she's praying and asking him to be in the form of a child, so that maybe Kamsa doesn't realize that it's Krishna.
Right. Yeah. So she's praying that don't show your four-armed Vishnu form, because the prophecy said that, and of course in his previous life, he already had an enmity with Vishnu. So he was going to be killed by Vishnu. So she's praying that if you can please hide this form of Vishnu, so that Kamsa doesn't come here. Does anyone else want to share from this paragraph, these few paragraphs? Panchali, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry, not from this paragraph. I probably should have asked this just 5 minutes ago. So just quickly going back to the Brahmalok to Pathalok, so everyone is annihilated. So does that mean, I mean, Brahma lives in Brahmalok, so does that mean that Brahma is destroyed as well, and then Krishna makes another Brahma?
Yes, would anyone like to comment on that? So if Krishna is saying that the whole universe is destroyed, then what happens to Brahma? Anyone like to share any thoughts on that? So Kirtika Mataji is with us still?
Yes, sorry, I had to go and I've come back. But according to my understanding, there are many, many Brahmas, and they get destroyed. I mean, not destroyed, but they get annihilated, and then they again come from the navel. The answer is yes, there are many, many Brahmas.
Prabhu, so whilst teaching the Bhagavad Gita, you taught us that we were talking about the sun god in, I think, chapter 4 was the, and then you said it was a position rather than a named person. Is that the same with Brahma and all the other forms that Krishna creates?
Right, that's correct. Yeah, good understanding. Both of you actually were correct. So, so at the beginning of the creation, when this universal shell is there and the Garbhodakshina Vishnu appears in there, then from his navel comes the lotus flower as you described. But that Brahma has a lifespan of 100 celestial years. So just like, you know, in this day and age, people can live sort of up to a max of around 100, isn't it? You know, we don't hear of many people who go more than 100. In fact, usually it's much less, 70 perhaps. Or so similarly, Lord Brahma, when he finishes the end of his life, then the whole creation, which he's created by the ingredients given by Lord Vishnu, that also dismantles. It also becomes devastated. It also collapses at the end of his life. But there are also many Brahmas, as you mentioned, because there are many universes which are coming from the Mahavishnu. So in each one of those Mahavishnus, there's each one of those universes, there's another Brahma, and another universe has another Brahma. So that Brahma is one particular soul in that universe. He's Brahma, and another soul, he's born as Brahma in that universe. Just like we are all born differently in this world, the Devas are also taking birth in those positions. So we are born as in a human position, they are born in a Deva position, in the demigod position. And then their life ends and then they go to their next position. So that's what's being described here. That birth, death, disease, and old age, that's for everyone with a material birth, whether it's a Deva or a human or an animal or plant or what have you. Okay. So we're just on time now. Thinking any final thoughts. So yeah, this. So I just want to see that's clear. Then how Devaki is praying to this four-armed Vishnu, isn't it? She's prayed to this four-armed Vishnu to hide himself, conceal himself. This is the concluding prayer which Devaki makes. And so next week we'll begin from Lord Vishnu. He begins to speak, or Krishna. He begins to speak to Devaki. Okay, so we'll see you all next Tuesday. I wish you all have a wonderful week ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Have a lovely week.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.